Okay, so today I'm going to compare Vanguard to Fidelity to Schwab and basically compare them not as companies that offer investment products, but compare them as brokers and how their interface is, how their smartphone apps are, and the pricing. So the first one we're going to look at is probably one of the oldest. It's Vanguard, and it's one that I have a Roth IRA account in that I've had for a while. And Vanguard was one of the first index funds, the low-cost index funds. They basically changed the whole industry over. It used to be high-price mutual funds that were actively managed, and they were like 2% fee, and then there was maybe a 5% management fee on the assets. That's the way it was, I think, until probably the 2000s. And then the Fidelity Magellan Fund, the performance started to go down, and then index funds started to take off, and Vanguard started taking off at that point. And since then, the companies have been, trying to play catch up, and now I think they're at the point where they're exceeding Vanguard. So I'm going to show that. So here you can see the interface. It's a very basic interface. You have balances, holdings, activity, performance. And when you start clicking on these, they're almost all the same. So you see the assets. You don't see anything about, like, this is the first thing you click on. You don't see anything about performance, like what happened today with my stocks. If I click on this, you see the money market fund info. You see the holdings that I have. You see, like, let me make this bigger. Okay, so here's the thing that I don't like. I've never been able to find with Vanguard. How do I show how much my portfolio is up in a day or a week? It's impossible. I haven't found a way. They go out of their way to make it where it's difficult for you to track the day-to-day or the weekly performance of your portfolio. Basically, here what they show you is that I have it shows you the ETFs that I own and stocks. It shows how much each one of those went up per share and the percentage change. It shows you the current balance, but it doesn't show you how much that went up in a dollar amount. So this small cap may have went up 1.92 today, but it could be up hundreds of dollars today, and it's not showing that. So each one of these is the same way. And even when you look at the the total, there's nothing there. It doesn't show you anything. It just shows you the total value. Now when you start clicking on, you can do like balances by date, and if you start clicking on price and returns, you'll see, you would think you'd be able to find that, but no, it's kind of the same deal. So you see the expense ratio, you see the SEC yield, you see the returns as of year to date, 1 year, 3 year, but you don't see anything for today, and that really annoys me. It's like, aren't you a little bit curious, like what happened, on a day-to-day basis? The news reports, stocks going up and down all the time, and S&P 500, and if you log into your portfolio with Vanguard, you're not going to find anything. Click performance again. They're all sort of, there's like 4 or 5 areas, and they're all sort of almost the same thing. Now this shows the rate of return over a long period of time. So what you can actually try doing is, if you want to try to pick a shorter period of time and you do custom, guess what? All right, so let's pick a day. You can't pick a day. You can only pick a month. So you can't, they go out of the way to make it difficult for you. They don't want you to look at your day-to-day performance. The way Vanguard is set up, at least this is how I interpret it, they want you to put the money away and not look at it for a long time and not track it on a day-to-day basis, not trade. That's the way it's set up. Most other brokers are set up, they want you to trade. They used to make money with you buying and selling. So that's really the difference. And Vanguard doesn't give you hardly any features because they don't want you to trade. They don't want you to look up hardly anything. They just want you to buy stuff and maybe sell it every once in a while and hold on to it. So I basically, well, here's the most advanced thing I've seen so far. They have a portfolio. So it shows how much you have in, I guess, domestic versus international. And then if you have bonds, it would show that here. So one thing that I want to show you is that you can actually, the features that Vanguard has, like how do you place an order? Can you research a stock? Can you get a stock quote? So let's look at that. We're going to do the same one for each. We're going to look up Amazon. So the ticker symbol AMZN. Now, here's Amazon. Now here's one thing you may notice. This is another thing that only Vanguard does. Okay, so you see the ticker price and it says quotes delayed at least 20 minutes. You never see that with any other broker. Now the only way you get real-time quote is if you hit buy. So once you hit buy, you'll actually see that. Okay, so if we want to buy Amazon, we click buy. Okay, now here you have a very simple interface. This is fine. You put in the ticker symbol, you put in the shares, you could do a limit order, you could put in, 85, good till canceled. Now, Vanguard, unlike Fidelity and Schwab, doesn't have fractional shares available. So if Amazon used to be very expensive. So if I wanted to do half of a share or 0.25 shares, you can't do it with Vanguard. It's not possible. So that's one thing that I don't like about them. Now let's research a stock. So we're gonna, well, let's see, if I click again, there we go. So you have to click twice. Once you click twice, then you can see a profile. And actually this isn't too bad. Like I like the layout of this interface better than what Fidelity has. So you can see a chart. You don't have too much wasted space above this menu bar. Unlike Fidelity's goes down probably an inch or two lower. I'm actually running a 27-inch 4K monitor at full resolution, and I can see this fine, but with Fidelity I have to do a lot of scrolling. So you can see the news info, you can see price history, you can see financials, and with Vanguard you get 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 4 years of financials. So you can click on that and then you can actually get all the financial details. Let's make it a little bigger here. You can get the cash flow statement, share details, return on equity. Now I think you can do industry comparison also. Let's look. You can see analyst ratings as far as buy recommendations and so forth. There's also analyst reports. However, Vanguard only gives you, I believe, 2 reports, whereas Fidelity, yeah, you have 2 reports. You have this Argus report and you have Market Grader. Whereas Fidelity and Schwab give you like 4 or 5. So I don't see an industry comparison with them. So it's very basic as far as what you can do. Also, with Vanguard, you can't You can't buy or sell after hours. You can't buy or sell after hours. You can actually you can't get level 2 quotes. But surprisingly, they actually offer margin trading. So I don't know why anybody would margin trade on Vanguard, but they do offer that. I guess it's an option for, a way for them to make money. But Vanguard to me is like Henry Ford and the Model T. So it's been there a long time, and it set the standard. But now, now things have evolved, and Vanguard is like Henry Ford, and they don't want to change their model. They're stuck with the old ways. They haven't moved on. Like, they don't have the features that Fidelity and Schwab have. They don't have the customer service. They don't have 24/7 support like Fidelity and Schwab. They don't have the credit card. They don't have the bank accounts like Schwab and Fidelity have, where they're all integrated. They don't have the nice smartphone app like both of them have. So that's my opinion of them. So it really, my opinion of Vanguard is basically like this. If you've ever been into Kmart in the past, you know that they have a certain sort of demographic, and they were sort of in a downward trend, and a lot of people had moved on, but their core customers stayed with them. It reminded me of going into the electronics section of Kmart and seeing those giant calculators. Vanguard is like one of those giant calculators that's next to the gummy bears and the denture cream. Basically, that you get the same level of features that one of those big calculators would have. And actually, everything when you go to the Vanguard website is sort of blown up. Now, I've blown up everything here so you can see it on YouTube, but I usually have to probably zoom out from 100% down to 90 or 80 because everything's kind of big and blown up. And that's the way the Vanguard website is designed, and it's very basic. It's no frills. The thing that Vanguard is good at that the others aren't so much is that Vanguard has set the standard, and they're always about being low cost, and they'll probably stay that way forever. So a lot of people have been afraid to switch companies because they've switched to Fidelity or some other company in the past, and then the company, you know, jacks up the rate on this or that, or starts nickeling and diming them after they move over. Vanguard is owned by the investors, and they've always had low rates, and so that's why so many people stick with Vanguard. It's not because they have a nice interface or lots of features. It's because you know the costs are going to be low. It's like putting money under a rock, investing it, and you know it's going to be there. You don't have to look at it every day. And so that's why I think Vanguard makes for a good retirement account. If you're not going to look at it, you're not going to trade. But right now, as long as the other ones don't change their pricing, you could do the same. You could buy a Vanguard ETF with Fidelity or Schwab and put it away for a long time, and you probably never have to pay any sort of fees on the account. So I think you win either way. So you win if you stick with Vanguard, but you probably win even more if you switch to Schwab or Fidelity because you get features also. So that's my opinion on Vanguard. Okay, now I'm going to show you the Charles Schwab interface. So I signed up with this one recently. They gave me $101 free and fractional shares. And you can see that here. I think I added $50. But you log in, the first thing you see is this nice interface. You see this nice interface with the chart showing the value of your portfolio as it's gone up and down. You can see, what else can you see? You can see my portfolio right here, right down below. You can see these are the stocks that when you sign up with this 101 shares bonus, they automatically buy fractional shares. You can see it right here. These are the fractional shares. So I own, you know, a bunch of the S&P 500 stocks, but fraction share of a share of each. So pretty easy. Then you can see the cash and money market. I actually bought, the one thing I don't like about Schwab is if you want the really high interest rate money market funds, you've got to buy them as mutual funds, but there's no minimum. And then of course when you want to, if you were to buy some stock, you've got to liquidate this first manually in order to if you're going to use that money to buy shares of an ETF or something. So if we click on my account here, you can see the market value. Okay, you see the market value. Here you see it again. Positions. Okay, there's like a rating for each percentage. This shows the portfolio breakdown, the percentage of each. This one right here shows the cost, the breakdown, the market value, gains and losses. Much easier interface than, I mean, you've got a lot more information and it seems a lot more useful than what Vanguard is offering. Now you can see estimated investment income on this section. So they do a breakdown for your whole portfolio. History. Okay, so here you can see, this is what I was saying, that this is what I was saying on the front page. You can see right here the total value of this portfolio. I don't have much money in yet. It went up $4.86 today. I mean, that's really all I wanted to see on Vanguard's website, is how much did it go up today and the percentage. This says it right on the front page, really big, and you have a nice chart, and you've got a 2-year change below. And if that's not enough for you, you can see it down below. So you scroll down here, you can see the market value day change right here. $4, up $4.86. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now let's try to buy Amazon and see how easy it is. It's very similar. You know, Vanguard is still easy to buy stocks. So if we go to buy Amazon, we have the ticker here. Now this is actually, the ticker is a live ticker. It's not like a 20 minutes delayed like, it's not 20 minutes delayed like Vanguard is. And you see a chart very similar to what Vanguard offers. Now you could actually look at, you could hit trade here. And so you put in a buy order, you put in 1 share, limit, good until canceled. And it's probably going to say we don't have enough money. So pretty similar interface as far as the buying goes. But let's say we want to do a little bit of research and find out about Amazon. So I guess it's another double click, just like Vanguard. So you click on it twice and then you get the data as far as the research data. So you have earnings details here, upcoming earnings, historic earnings, revenue data, price earnings. You've got this is the part I like that Vanguard doesn't have. You've got a competitor group or peer groups. You can compare the different price earnings ratio from Amazon to eBay to Overstock. You can look, and if you look at the chart here, they give you the balance sheets and the financials. They give you 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whereas Vanguard only gives you 4. And then they give you this nice little chart here that you get that Vanguard doesn't give you. Then you see here that we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 different research reports that you could click on and get for free, whereas Vanguard only gave you 2. So if you want to look, and you've got a Morningstar rating here automatically. There's a Morningstar report and a Reuters report, so that's sick. Actually, there's probably like 7 or 8 research reports on Amazon. So it's laid out pretty well, and it loads pretty fast. And one thing I like that it does, the charts are pretty clear and easy to read. It doesn't flash when I click the financials here. If I go back and I click the income statements and the financials, the only thing that flashes is this part here that's loading. It doesn't flash the whole page. Like in E-Trade, whenever I switch from income statements to cash flow statements, the whole page flashes, which is annoying. So that's what you get for the analysis for stocks. Now you can also do there's a stock screener. You can go to their stock screener and research stocks. So you could go to valuation, so I think I like their stock screener. It's pretty easy to use. It's pretty fast. There's nothing that's confusing about it. It's clean. It's not cluttered. One thing I noticed with Fidelity that's a little bit different from, one thing I noticed with Schwab that's a little bit different than Fidelity is I have a Schwab credit card, and I don't see anything about the credit card in here. But if I log into Fidelity, all their accounts are linked, which is really nice. Like you can see it all from one place. So if I put in credit card, so that's it for Schwab. I think it's my favorite out of the 3 as far as the interface goes, the layout, the speed. I think it's the top. The one thing I don't like about Schwab is that they pay for the order flow, and Fidelity and Vanguard don't. So when it comes to stocks, neither Fidelity or Vanguard pay for the order flow and send it to Citadel Securities like Charles Schwab does, and then they get a payment for it. So Fidelity only does it for options trades, and they get money for that, and Vanguard doesn't do it for either. So that's the one thing I don't like about Schwab, but everything else I like pretty well. Okay, here's my Fidelity account. I have 3 different Fidelity accounts. I have the brokerage account. I just signed up with their cash management account, and I've had their 2% Fidelity Rewards credit card for a long time. So the nice thing about the credit card is that I have it linked to the brokerage account, and I think when it reaches $25 in rewards, it sends that money to the brokerage account. And then I can either cash it out or I can use it to buy stocks or ETFs. So Fidelity's has a nice interface. It's very similar, I guess, to pretty similar to Schwab. You got a nice little chart on the front. Fidelity's really big with the planning stuff. So they've got all kinds of links for like investment planning, lifetime planning, insurance, all sorts of products. All right, if we click on the portfolio here, we see that I have a S&P 500 fund. This is another thing that I like. So you can see the account total. You can see today's gain or loss. So this little portfolio that I have is up $178 today. I guess since I started, it's up $2,038. I mean, it's very clear, very easy to see. You can see the weekly range of the different stocks. Let's look at balances here. There you can see the core, my checking account that I have, that I just set up. And I think the deal is still going until the 2nd. If you sign up with a Fidelity account, if you don't already have a Fidelity account, you can sign up with one of these Fidelity accounts with the exception of the credit card. And you fund it with at least $50 and you get $150 back. You just have to keep the money in there, I think, for 30 days or 15 days. And I get nothing from that, but if you look at some of my videos, I think I have a link somewhere. You can see the dividend view here. Now let's look at the checking account. You can see they're all linked here. So if I wanted to move money from my brokerage account to the checking and pay bills, I could do that. I could do that right here. So now I could set up direct deposit. I could do order checks, manage debit cards, cash manager. I think there's bill pay probably here somewhere too. Anyways, let's try to buy a stock now. So go to Amazon and we'll do the research also. Okay, so you see the nice chart. You see lots of data here. Now this is the part about Fidelity that I don't like. And now you see here how there's this sort of menu bar with all the items. This well, right now it's near the bottom of my screen because I'm zoomed in, but even if I zoom out and it's halfway, this is halfway up the screen right around here. Each time I click on this, if I scroll down so that I can see the stuff below it, guess what happens when I click on it? It drops it down below. So even if I zoom out all the way, I'd have to really zoom out. Really far. It'd have to be very small. So if you make it really small, that's not a problem, but I'm on a big monitor, so a lot of people are going to have this issue. If you're somebody who's older or who's on a smaller monitor or a smaller screen and you start clicking on this stuff, it drops to the bottom and it's very annoying. So this is my normal size that I would look at stuff. When I click on it, I want it like this so I can see everything below it. But when I click on it, look, it drops down. So all this wasted, they modify the screen so that I can stare at all this blank space and look at the ticker symbol, when this stuff could be right at the top like E-Trade has it, where you've got the menu bar, you click on it, and then all the stuff loads below. So Fidelity has a lot of data. I would say it's got about as much data as Charles Schwab, but you've got to do a lot of scrolling. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've got 8 research reports, or actually more than that. And some of this stuff, like right now, it looks okay, but some of the stuff you really have to scroll down in order to see it. Like right now, it's okay. But then look, so here we go. We have statistics. Financial statements should be on here somewhere, right? But you have to scroll down. And now you would think all the other ones had the financial statements laid out, like the whole 5-year. With Fidelity, you've got to click more every single time. And then it's sort of, there's a lot of white space that loads when you reload the page, which is annoying. Now you can see the financials. So if I were to go back, the same thing happens. It doesn't stay open. So if I want to go back and see financials, I have to do it all over again. So that's the thing that really annoys me about Fidelity. I would probably say that their interface is 5. The data they have is probably 5 stars, except for their layout is very cluttered and clunky and lots of white space. Like why do they have all this white space here? Why isn't this more the top? Why isn't the menu near the top? That's my problem with Fidelity. So would this be a problem if you're just buying and selling? So if we just go to buy Amazon and we're selling and we're buying ETFs, we're not researching stocks, this is not going to be a problem. You're not going to have a problem with this. So you would just put in your shares, and you could do fractional shares here too. So if you want to do 0.25 shares, you could do 0.25 shares. So that's the thing I like about Fidelity is, and Fidelity has the best fractional shares because it's only a $1 minimum, and they do 7,000 stocks. Charles Schwab has a $5 minimum on fractional shares, and they only do S&P 500 stocks. So right now, Fidelity is ahead with the fractional shares, and Vanguard offers no fractional shares. So if we want to do a stock screener, we can do that. Stock screener. Now they have a lot of information on their stock screener, but I do like, it feels a little bit cluttered and messy, whereas to me Charles Schwab feels more organized. Like if you go to, where's valuation, company value, here you can find it here, all this information, and it's still like I can't even find like price to book value, price to sales. Where is that? Price, performance. But both of these companies do have a stock screener, and you don't have to use them for their stock screener or the research. The main thing that people are going to be using them for is the buying and selling of ETFs and the holding of money and not charging crazy fees. So there's plenty of third-party websites that you could use if you want to use a stock screener or you want to research stocks. But you know, it is nice that they would offer something like this, or that it's available, whereas Vanguard doesn't have this stuff available. And the thing I like about both Fidelity and Vanguard, I mean Fidelity and Schwab, is they both have checking accounts. So you can move the money from your brokerage account to your checking account and pay your bills and sort of use it like a bank. Whereas with Vanguard, you can't do that. And I believe you can move the money from the brokerage account to the checking account same day. The same with Schwab. Now, Fidelity has a better banking account than Schwab. Schwab is better with the international travel with their debit card, which has an unlimited unlimited fee reversals on foreign ATMs. Nobody can beat them on that. But the interest rate is better with Fidelity for their checking, their cash management account. So, like, if it were me and I didn't trade or research stocks much, I would say, which one would I choose? I would probably choose Fidelity, and I would use their checking account. I would use the credit card. If I were doing more trading, I would probably do Schwab, because their research is better. It's better organized. If you're just going to put the money under a rock, you never want to look at it, then I would do Vanguard. But there's a solution to that also. If you're so afraid of seeing your value go up or down on your portfolio, just don't log into the account with Fidelity or Schwab. It'll accomplish the same thing. And at least you'll have the features available if you want to use it. But you don't have to bury your head under a rock like the way Vanguard sets it up. So those are my options. So if you're really fearful of fees, you never want to see anything that's moderately complicated, and you want to stick with the proven leader that's been around forever, then do Vanguard and do a retirement account. Don't do it for probably the main account. And if you want to do sort of a daily thing, and you don't do too much trading, I would say Fidelity. For trading, I would do the Charles Schwab. And so those are my choices. So I hope you liked this video. Have a good one.